Yo, what's going on, guys? Let's go ahead and this week, what I want you guys to do is try and make an accurate prediction at kind of what you're going to have in savings. And this isn't going to be super accurate, but what we're going to do as a group, and you can just follow along with the video to make your predictions. Where this is kind of like the review of the whole picture. I may put further review questions up for you to practice if you want to do that. But basically, this is the big picture of what I want you guys to walk away with from the finance unit from this course. What does it mean, to save money, and how can we control these individual factors? So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to fill out a spreadsheet that's linked on the website. So when you open it up, you're going to press File, Make a Copy to your drive. And what you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to fill this out. And what I want you to do, now you don't have to try and make it as accurate as possible. If there's personal information that you're not comfortable sharing, you don't have to put that in here necessarily. You can make something up for that slot, but I want you to try and keep it accurate if you can on certain categories. Okay, so I want you to accurately predict how much you're going to have in retirement. Now, remember, for you guys to retire, you're looking to have probably somewhere close for an individual, somewhere around $1 million would be outstanding. For a family, probably be like 1.3 million. For an individual, maybe like 800,000 or something. But really, let's shoot for somewhere around $1 million for you to retire. Now, this is not perfectly accurate. There are plenty of flaws with my sheet. It's not perfect, but it does give us an idea of how much money we might spend. And I want you to reflect back and really think about how much we spend. And if in the future you're like, man, I would like to do that activity again, I'm going to leave this up. You can come back and look at past years. I want you to truly think about how much you spend. A great exercise that our family does is we often will write down, and I've told you this before, every single item that we purchase in a month. Now, that's a lot. If that's a lot for you, if that's crazy, maybe you're spending too much, but it's nice to be able to see, where is my money going? What am I spending my money on? What am I spending money that I don't need? So on and so forth. So we're going to look at 3 different scenarios in this sheet. A lot of the information will copy over automatically to the other sheets, and we won't have to re-enter it. There's going to be a lot of math involved. This is a math class after all, so please follow along with the video as best you can. We're going to be doing lots of equations. The 3 different scenarios are 3 people in similar situations that make different decisions in their investing, okay? And really, we're only covering bills and housing. This sheet is not going to cover like interest rates that you would earn while you're saving money. So this is just kind of like budgeting, I guess, would be the big picture. How do we budget for big expenses in our life, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Things left off this sheet are some big ticket items like health insurance, education, a car, and all these other big purchases that our life runs into. So yeah, it's going to add up, and this is not going to be super accurate, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and go for it. So I'm going to fill this out as my good friend Billy Joe. Okay, so Billy's going to fill this out. Let's say Billy is my age. Billy is 29, and Billy he's dreamt his entire life of being a plumber. So Billy's going to be a plumber. In the sheet, I say look up the average plumbing wage. So I'll say how much annual salary for plumber Alaska. Let's see how much that is. 48 to 81K a year. So 50 somewhere in there between 48 and 81,000. This is probably your master's. Let's say we're ballparking, we're going to average like 70 or something. So estimated annual salary, let's say 70,000. Okay? Because this is how much we make before taxes, how much our employer pays us. You're going to come on through. The standard deduction And I didn't talk about this much in our tax unit, but basically the standard deduction for all individuals, we're filling this out as an individual living alone. I know it's kind of lonely to think about retiring alone and everything, but we're going to do that anyways, just for the sake of looking at the numbers. The standard deduction for most individuals is $12,200. So you're going to put the standard deduction as, $12,200. So the taxable income, remember, a deduction subtracts from your actual income to get your taxable income. So the taxable income is going to be equal to 70,000. You'll put equals minus 12,200. Bingo. So we are taxed not based on the 70,000, but based on 57,800. Okay, so now what we do is we're going to look up the tax for filing singly for 57,800. Now, when you guys are filling this sheet out, I don't want you to just copy all the values that I do. I want you to fill it out honestly for yourself. What's a career you're thinking about choosing, okay? And you can go back in and change some of these factors later, but you will have to change this all as one big block, okay? The taxes, what are the taxes for a salary of 57,800? Well, on the website, I have a link to the tax tables. You can click there. It'll pull up to here, and we're going to go down to 70,000 in the chart. Follow that pattern. And it says for 70,000 exactly, filing singly is the first column. Oh, it's not 70,000, sorry. It's 57,800 is where we're going. So we're going up. 57,000 for 2019. 57,800 is right there. $8,580 is our tax. $8,580. So at the end of the day, how much money do we take home and how much money goes into our pockets? Well, that's going to be 70,000 minus what we paid in taxes. So we get $61,420. So at the end of the day, we're going to take home $61,420. Let's go ahead and make that a monthly salary. That's the end of, not the end of the day, the end of the year. Monthly salary is going to be whatever this box is divided by 12. We're making $5,118.33 a month. Now, this is after we've been in the business for a long time. When you first start, folks, you're not making this kind of money. Okay, so this is why this table is also unrealistic. And hopefully this kind of balances it out. This is kind of like the average of what you make, or a high average, maybe. We'll see. All right, so in the first column here, so you'll notice down here at the bottom, I don't know if you guys can see that, there are 3 tabs. We're going to put Billy in 3 different situations. The first situation is Billy rents until he's retired. Okay, situation 1. Billy rents until he is retired. Maybe not the smartest move. We'll plan to find out. Situation 2, you'll notice when you click on the mortgage tab, it's saying the reference is not there. That's strange. So that one is just 12,200. Fix that. Okay. Oh boy. Hold on, let's try that again. What happened there? Whoops. Why? So the deduction is 12,000, and this is 70. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's check the last sheet. Same thing also happened. That should be moved down. This should be 70. 1, 2, 3. Bingo. Okay, so all of these should be adding up, and I'll go ahead and fix that in the sheet so you don't have that problem. All of those should be adding up to be the same. They should kind of copy over between each sheet. Yeah, okay, great. So let's go ahead and continue down. I'll fix it so yours adds up and does that automatically. But basically, each one of these scenarios is different. This is you take out a mortgage right away, and then you work until you pay it off, and then you have a house and you don't have to pay rent anymore, and you don't have to pay the mortgage anymore. That's this situation. And then this one is different. This one is you don't take out a mortgage. Instead, you rent until you can afford the house. Then you buy the house in cash. And then you come back and live in the house until you retire. Okay, so this is you buy one house, you live in it until you retire, which is also not super realistic, but those are the three scenarios: renting until you retire, buying a house and living in that same house, buying a house with a mortgage and living in that house until you retire, and renting until you can afford a house, buying the house in cash with no interest, and then and living it until you retire. Okay, let's start with renting. Let's keep going. Rent. You'll notice on the website there is a link to an assignment, and on the assignment it shows the directions of what you're supposed to plug in for each category. It says set your rent value to $1,200 a month. So we're going to go 1, 2, bingo, $1,200. Monthly heat gives a little equation. Okay, set your heat to 0. Your landlord usually covers this. So for when you're renting, you usually don't have to pay heat. Electric you usually tax onto your rent. Annual electric bill is $1,000 plus 800 times the number of people. If you're living alone, then you just use 1,800. But remember, this is the monthly electric, so we have to do equals 1,800. If you want to pretend like you're married or you have kids, you can do that. But maybe if you're married, do one other person. But we'll do 1,800 divided by 12, because this is the monthly electric bill, not the annual electric bill. Okay, so we got $150. Now you'll notice that some of those are going to be copying over, which is nice. Okay, monthly property tax. Let's go back to that one. The monthly property tax is set to 0 for renting because you don't own the property, right? You're paying the landlord this money. He's using that money to help pay the property tax. Monthly data. We have data whether or not we're renters or owners. It's $150 plus 50 times the number of people. Okay, so that's internet and phone. So if it's just one person for Billy, because he's the lonely guy, he's going to have a $200 data bill. Water, you don't have to pay if you're renting. Don't think so. Maybe you might. Depends on where you live. There's no one-size-fits-all rule here. For the sake of the sheet, we're putting in a 0. Monthly garbage, don't have to pay that. Car insurance, well, you got to pay car insurance. So on the website, there's the thing that says car insurance estimator. We're going to go to that. We're going to scroll on down, and we're going to go down to this box here, and it says, let's get quick car insurance estimate, 99701 or 99705 for North Pole. Are you currently insured? You would say, maybe let's say no. This is your first person. Do you own a car? Own. How old are you? Let's say you guys are saying less than 25. Are you a homeowner? Not yet, because you're a renter. All right, so it looks like for standard liability is $66 a month. For full coverage, it's $246 a month. And let's go ahead and kind of go somewhere in between. And let's say you get a little bit bigger. You can use any number here you want, but standard liability, if you have a brand new car, you want to get probably full coverage, just depends. Okay, so let's go, and I'm going to round up to, for car insurance, let's maybe say $90 a month. I go back to the sheet, use that as a guide or a gauge depending on what you say. Monthly car insurance, let's go ahead and say $90 per month. Renter's insurance on the sheet, if we check that, online calculator determine car insurance, annual renter's insurance is $166. That's annual, not monthly. So for the month, we do 166 divided by 12. We're cruising now, $13.83 per month. Monthly life insurance. Let's go back to the sheet. Life insurance is $15 a month per person. It's in your household that you have life insurance for. So $15. Groceries. I can't remember my rule. Groceries were $250 times the number of people if you're living by yourself. I think that's personally perfectly reasonable. Monthly personal spending. Let's say Billy's pretty... So honestly, like, people can spend a lot more. People can spend a lot more on all of these categories, right, if you're renting. Groceries, let's say if you're living by yourself, let's say it's $250, but if you eat out every night, that can easily be $600. Like, you can, if you eat out all the time, you can spend money like it's nobody's business. This can get huge, and this can be an area where people need to cut back big time. So if you shop smart and you eat smart and you pack your own lunch, $250 is reasonable. So this is a pretty conservative estimate. Monthly personal spending. This is like stuff that you buy that you don't need. Okay, so maybe it's like maybe you don't always need it, or it's not like a monthly thing. So you can put into this category everything else that you think you're not factoring in. Emergencies is going to be like medical stuff that comes up, your tires break, stuff like that. So I'm going to say $100 for personal spending. You buy a video game, or maybe you buy a couple, a subscription to Netflix or something. That's where your personal spending is going. Monthly emergencies is like an accident happens. So personal spending, said 50 times the number of people, but you can really just do whatever you want. I don't think it's reasonable. I think some people spend $50 a month, more than $50 a month, on stuff that they probably don't need. But it's good for like entertainment, basically. So this is like, how much do you spend on entertainment? If you're thinking 50 is way low, which it might be for you, please use the number that you think is realistic for you. Monthly gas. Monthly emergencies is next, which is 200 times the number of people, and that can easily be way higher on any given month. Okay, and gas is 100 times the number of cars. If you drive one car, that is 100. So the total in expenses for the month is $2,500. Or no, we don't know that yet. It is maybe it's close to 200. That's what it was on the last sheet. We're going to add all that up. So it's $2,318. Is that really it? That's everything? Yeah, that's everything. So this person is spending $2,318. Okay. Super. Like car insurance. Yeah, that seems about right. That seems about reasonable. This is with basic liability. If we bump it up to full coverage, which is what it asked for. By the way, what if you get like in an accident or something? If you were to bump this up to full coverage, which is be $246 a month, that's pretty insane. So that's pretty expensive. There's a lot of variability here as well. Okay, so the savings. How much are we saving every single month? We put equals. Well, how much are we saving is how much we make minus how much we spend. How much we make is right here per month. Whoops. Try that again. We click in here, B11 minus how much we spend every month. So that means we are saving $2,799.50 per month. That's how much is going into our bank. So right here, you can put your current assets. This is how much you have. Maybe Billy's 29. Maybe he's been saving for a while. Let's say Billy has like $60,000 saved. Okay. And then you can control your retirement age. So if Billy wants to retire when he's 65, then you put the age 65. And now we're going to do some math to determine the months left that Billy has to work. Okay, so we put equals. So the months left that Billy has to work. That's basically the difference in when he wants to retire. So we'll say we need to know how many years he has left before he wants to retire. Well, he's currently 29, so we're going to do 65 minus the age up here, 29. Now, the reason I'm doing references like this is because when I change the age to 60, you'll know it automatically updates. Notice it automatically updates down at the bottom. So we're doing references here so that we have this big kind of sheet that's doing all the calculations for us. Like if you change, for example, the rent to $1,100 a month, right? That's going to change this number, this number, this number, whatever. So 1,200 is reasonable. Okay, this is meant to be a tool for you. So we have 36. That's 36 years, but now we got to convert that to months. So I'm going to put parentheses around that. And we are going to times by 12. So Billy has 432 months left of work. Not super accurate because of birthdays and whatnot, but whatever. So now let's break this down for you. We know how much Billy saves every month. We know how many months he has left before he turns 65. So we can figure out how much now Billy's not trying to buy a house. We can figure out how much Billy has to his name, okay? We can say the retirement amount for Billy is the monthly savings times the number of months left that he has to work. So Billy, if he saves $2,799.50 every single month, okay, until he's retired at 65, he'll have 1.2 million. Now you can come in here and change. What if he retires at 70? Ooh, works an extra 5 years. What about 60? Ooh, so it looks like Billy's going to be in good shape. That can work. So where is this? How come people can't do this? This seems so simple, right? The big categories. People buy snow machines and stuff. They don't, they're buying snow machines. They get in big accidents. They have health problems. Yeah, lots of things. They get in an accident and their car insurance goes up. They take, they also could take out a loan, and that's our next category. So we're retiring at 65. It's like 1.2 million roughly in the bank saved. The other thing is, I didn't factor in, if he's doing this every month and getting interest on this, it's going to be a lot bigger. It's going to be a lot bigger. Let's look at a mortgage. All right, so Bill's already filled out all the information for us from the last sheet. There's just a couple things down here that weren't filled out. Brought the assets. Why do I sound Canadian? That makes no sense. Billy's 29, whatever. Okay, we got to choose a home. So you're going to go to Zillow. You're going to choose a home that you're interested in buying. Let's go ahead and say it costs $200,000. I feel like that's pretty average for Fairbanks. Mortgage years is mortgage in months is a mortgage length. I want you to do a 30-year mortgage to start. You type 360 months for that. The interest rate we're going to use is 0.04, which is 4%, which is pretty low, but that's a conservative estimate here. It's a little higher than what it is now, but it's pretty standard, I would say, for borrowing. Okay, monthly payment, and this can be a lot higher depending on your trustworthiness and your credit score. Your monthly payment, this can be determined using Excel, and we don't have to do that nasty formula. There's actually a faster way to do it. What we do is we say equals, excuse me. All right, what we do is we say equals PMT. Okay, this is a payment, and we say we're going to take the annual interest rate, so the monthly annual interest rate, we're going to divide by 12. Okay, then the next is the length of the mortgage, the number of monthly payments we're going to make. That's 360. You click in that box. And then the next thing is the present value of what we borrowed. We're borrowing $200,000 for the home. So in this, remember, we're in the scenario where we're borrowing money for a mortgage. And then the future value of the home, we want that to be 0. Now for this payment, it's showing a decrease, so it's going to be a negative here for the math. So I'm going to do times by -1 so we can see what it is we're paying. So the monthly payment for a $200,000 house for 360 months at 4% is $954.83. Seems pretty reasonable. If I come and type in 150, 123 now, it automatically adjusts and does all the math for me. Beautiful. We have our little calculator. Okay, how much does our total home cost? Let's think about the total. With interest, we are making 360 payments at $954.83. So we do equals this box times 360. Okay, so I'm multiplying those two boxes together. For a $200,000 home at 4%, we pay a total of $343,739.01. So how much do we pay the bank in interest? Well, that would be the cost in total minus the cost of the house that we started with. So we paid the bank $143,739 in interest at 4%. Okay, so now this person is doing things differently. Remember Billy? So Billy before rented till he retired. Not many people do that. Most people try and buy a house. If you buy a house on time, you take out a loan for the whole thing, then if you buy a house, take out a loan for the whole thing, you're going to be paying the bank a ton of money. You're also taking some risk. If you can't make your payments, then it could really mess you up there. But anyways, once you pay for the house, this is how much you've paid. Fantastico. All right, let's come down here. The monthly heat. Monthly heat. Monthly heat for our house. I think if you have chosen a house on Zillow, it should say the square footage of the house. So what we can do here, I gave you a little formula. If you scroll down, choose a house from Zillow that looks livable, and make sure it's realistic. Mortgage length, went over that. Annual heat estimation is the number of square feet in your house. All right, so $200,000 house. Let's say it's, I don't know, 1,500 square feet or something along those lines. So we would do monthly heat is, oh, what the heck? Yeah. Okay, monthly heat is equals, let's say 1,600 square feet. You do 1,600 divided by 12. Because that's 1,600 square feet is what you pay per year. So you're paying $133 in heat a month. Just an estimate, roughly. So we divide by 12 there. The property tax. Property tax is the value of the home divided by 100, then multiplied by 1.2. Well, we can do that in our sheet. We're going to say equals the value of the home divided by 100. And then we're going to multiply that by 1.2. Okay, oh, sorry, that's for the whole year. So you're not paying $2,400 a month. Your property tax is $2,400 for the year. So you'll take that and divide by 12. All right, so you're paying $200 a month. That seems I guess that seems a little low, honestly. But yeah, that is a little low, but that's okay. Case for the sheet. Water calculation. $40 plus 20 times the number of people. So $40 plus one person would be a total of 60. Monthly garbage. Garbage, I believe I said, was annual bill is $240 divided by 12 is 20. $20 a month. Makes sense to me. Monthly garbage, $20. Monthly home insurance. Well, guess what? Monthly home insurance is here on the home insurance estimator. So we're going to go to that. We'll do home insurance. Let's say $997.05. We're in North Pole. We have a house that costs $200,000 roughly. Liability. I'll just go ahead and press search. Okay, so the average rate is about $1,300, so do $1,295. Now that's for the whole year. So we go back to our sheet. We do equals $1,295 divided by 12, which is $107.91. Okay, let's take a look here. Savings during the mortgage. What are our monthly savings during the mortgage? Well, we got to total it up. Equals sum of all these. We don't have rent included in there. So we're paying $1,600 in things that aren't our mortgage. Our mortgage is $954.83. All of this goes on top of our mortgage. So when people buy a house and they look at the mortgage, sometimes they're like, oh, I can afford that house. I only have to pay $954 a month. No, you got to pay $954 a month plus all your other stuff that you got to normally pay for. Now you got to buy home insurance. Now you got to pay for city garbage. Now you got to pay for city water. By the way, this is required in some places, right? You got to pay property tax. You got to heat. You got to pay electric. You got to pay all that stuff on top of that monthly payment. So if you're thinking, hey, I can afford a 15-year mortgage, well, with all this stuff on top of it, can be pretty expensive. So what's our monthly savings here? Monthly savings is going to be equal to how much we earn in a month. How much we earn in a month minus how much we spend on utilities minus how much we spend on our mortgage. So monthly savings here are, what were they before? Just a little bit less. We're paying $1,200 to the bank. Look at that. Okay. Now let's take a look. So you're making a little bit less than you would be if you were renting. Not a whole lot less, but a little bit less, which seems crazy. Fantastic. Now the monthly savings after the mortgage is paid. Well, after the mortgage is paid, your monthly savings is different. It's equal to how much you make in a month minus all of these utilities, because you're not paying that $954 a month anymore. Okay, so you have a different number going on here. So once you've paid for your mortgage, you have $3,492 a month that you are able to save. So our retirement amount, now this is where it gets kind of confusing. Our retirement amount here is equal to the monthly savings that we were paying during the mortgage times the number of months that we paid during the mortgage. That's 360, which is right here. So we paid this amount 360 times, which is in box B15. Then, hey, the mortgage is paid off. We own our house. Hooray! Like, we've paid for that, right? Now, you want to add all the time after the mortgage, okay? Well, we were saving this amount for how many months? We were saving that amount for whatever. So we have 432 months left to work. We just spent 360 of those months on a mortgage. So we have whatever 432 minus B15 is, 360. So we just did B46, which is the number of months left to work, minus 360, which is in the box up there. Okay. Okay, so this person is retiring. Plus 60,000. We got to add the 60,000, the current assets. Did I do that on the last sheet? I did not. Current assets are 60,000 plus 60,000. Look at that. They're comparable. This person retires with 1.2 million. This person retires with 1.2 million also, but with it's just a little bit more. So renting, now this can all change, right? There's a lot of factors here that are not being factored in, but the mortgage person is actually better off here, even though their number is a little bit less. The reason the mortgage person is better off is because now they have an asset. Now they own a home, and the home that they own is worth money, and that value can increase. So they have them about the same amount of money in the bank, but the mortgage person owns their house. So yeah, that's a big deal. Now, what if the reason I did all these references here, guys, is what if you can go through and speculate. You can say, well, what if the mortgage person bought a $350,000 house instead? Well, that makes the monthly payment a lot less. They just lost quite a bit of money, okay, right? They still own the value of their home. That is true, but they actually didn't do very hot, and that's at 4%. What if it was a $350,000 home at 7%? Okay, well, now this person's broke, okay? $350,000 home at 7%. This person has way less money than the renter. So there's all these factors that play into how much money you're going to have when you retire, okay? The interest rate, the size of the house, 4% is very, very mild for an interest rate, okay? Okay, now let's do the last one. The last one is, now most of this is already filled out for us. I just took the home insurance because they're not renting for a very long time. But anyways, Billy's making around $70,000 on average through his career. Let's go ahead and take a look here. We still recording? Okay. Bueno. How long have we been going? Good. Okay, we're almost done. All right, let's take a look. So this copied over all of the data from the previous sheets. Yes, I went and put that in there so you guys wouldn't have to do it. You're saving for the same home. We're assuming that this Billy was rented till he retired. This Billy with the mortgage he took out a mortgage right away, had a home to live in, and was paying for that mortgage. He's a little bit better off because he did it when he was 29 or whatever. Now take a look here. Again, so this person technically has more wealth, but it doesn't mean it's better necessarily because they took a risk. You're not guaranteed to be able to pay off that home. If a big emergency comes into play, then and you don't pay it off, you have a lot less money, and you actually can have your house taken away from you and still have sunk all that money into it. So just know that that's not always perfect either, even though they could be in a little bit better position. Now let's look at this option. This option is you save for a home, you purchase a home when you can buy it in full, and then you put everything that you make in savings, and we're going to take a look at that. So if the home costs $200,000, how many months are there until you can afford that home? Okay, well, that is going to be equal to, it's going to be dependent upon how much we're saving. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so let's look at our expenses while we're renting. What's the total expenses while we are renting? So while we are renting, it's going to be equal to the sum of all this stuff, CUM, of all that, but I'm going to subtract off, when you're renting, you don't have to pay for heat. When you're renting, you don't have to pay property tax. When you're renting, you don't have to pay for water. When you're renting, you don't have to pay for garbage. So while you're renting, you're paying $2,412 a month. That should be comparable to what we had before. Yeah, we're a little off, but it's pretty accurate. Okay. Oh, because your renter's insurance went up. That's okay. While you're owning a home, when you own a home, it's just going to be all of those, and I'm going to put that in a sum. Click and drag. Okay. Okay, so when you own a home, you're only paying this amount, which should be, let me go to my other sheet to double check. You own a home, it's pretty close, roughly. Pretty darn close. Okay, so months until you can afford your home. Well, you're saving for your home while you're renting. So that's going to be equal to the cost of your home. Okay, and we're going to see, we need to know how much we're saving. Let's see, actually, let's just use this box in here. What's our monthly savings while we are renting? While we are renting, our monthly savings is how much we're making minus how much we're spending on rent. Bingo. All right, so we're saving $2,705 a month while renting. So how many months will it be for us to be able to afford that home? We're going to say that's equal to the house divided by how much we're saving every month. 73 months to be able to buy that home. Okay, 73 months to be able to buy that home. That seems fairly reasonable. Okay, monthly savings after you own a home. So after we own the home, it's going to be slightly different. That is going to be, so we have 70. Let's just go ahead and round that up to 74 if you guys don't mind. You can use the round function in here, which is actually pretty cool. So if you click in here and press round, put parentheses around there, and then put comma, let's round to 0 decimal places. It'll round it up to 74 for us. So we have essentially 74 months until we can buy the house outright, and we have $200,000 saved. Okay, great. Monthly savings after you own the home. Okay, after you own the home, your monthly savings are, this is while owning the home, equal to this minus that. So you're saving $3,492, which should be what we had before. Yep, $3,492.08. Now we have to calculate the months not paying rent. Okay, so we paid rent for 74 months in order to be able to buy the house. We have at the beginning we had 432 months left to work, so we do 432 minus 74, which means we have 358 months left to work after we buy our home. So we're in our house for 358 months until we're 65. So believe it or not, we now have enough information to determine our retirement amount. Okay? So notice I did not include the mortgage because there was no mortgage, right? So let's think about this. This is equal to how much and is in our retirement is equal to the number of months so our savings, where's our monthly savings while renting? That was 7, so we would do 74 times, so we're 74 months while we were renting, and then we times that by the monthly savings while renting. Bingo. Okay, sorry. Then we're going to add to that the monthly savings after you own the home, and that happens for 358 months. Okay, now we earned the cost of the house, so technically that is this number, but we're going to subtract off the cost of the house, and we're going to add our current assets. This is what we have right now. Okay, so this person paid for their house, and I think that we could have got to that answer quite a bit simpler, but that's fine. This person has 1.3 million in savings, and they own a home, a $200,000 home on top of that, and they took very little risk. So the only risk that this person took is sinking all their money into a house and not having any other capital available. Technically, they had the 60,000, which I think is plenty. So we have essentially, basically 3 avenues. If Billy rents the same career, it's the same career, same taxes, everything. If Billy rents, he's going to have 1.2 million, almost 1.3 million, but he won't own a home. And when he's retired, he will be continually paying rent on his retirement. So it's going to be draining very fast, right? He has 1.26 million, but he is going to have to continue to pay rent because he doesn't own a home. Okay, so his monthly expenses are going to drain, or his savings is going to drain a lot faster once he retires. This person paid a little too much to the bank. They did all right. They now own their home. But this person but they took a lot of risk as well because they put a lot of money out in order to purchase their house. This person took minimal risk and ends up with the most money. The downside to doing this is that you don't get to move into your house right away. You have to wait roughly 6 years to save up for your house. But 6 years seems like a lot better than 30. Anyways, yeah, so a couple things about this chart that I want to go over with you. You have this now created, so you can go through and you can plug in things to change the values that'll do lots of cool math for you. So you can come and you can look at the mortgage and say, man, I can change these values. You can say, well, what if I get roommates, and what if I don't pay $1,200? What if instead I pay $500 a month and I live with roommates for a while? Wow, that's a lot more money, right? Like, so you can start playing around with the values in the calculator. And I mean, the best option is, what if you could get roommates? There's lots of ways to cut corners. So think about ways that you can make these lower. How can I make my heat lower? Get a good insulated place, right, for a house. How can I make my electric lower? Maybe invest in some solar panels. How can I make my property tax lower? Maybe live outside of town. That's going to increase your gas, whatever. Emergencies. How do I make sure that I'm covered? Make sure you... things that I did not factor into this sheet were your savings and your health insurance, remember, if you're socking away, so these are all underestimates by a long shot of what you can save. These are all underestimates because none of these involve you putting things into a bank and getting interest on your returns. This is just you saving. Now, so these can be astronomically large if you save smart and you don't take too much risk. So this involves no investing. This is just you. This is just the sweat off your back, right? So then if these numbers are so large and that doesn't even involve people saving money with interest and earning interest on their savings, then what is inaccurate? Where do people screw up in their spending? Okay, people screw up because they go buy a bunch of stuff that they don't need. These all represent needs. What's not represented on here is owning things just because you want them. Okay, there's no spot for that on here. And if you put that on here, there are a lot of things that are not included, like clothes, right? Like you don't need really fancy clothes depending on your job. Most of the time you do not, and yet people purchase them. So that's where the disconnect is. And you think that's crazy, but I would really recommend you guys to write, don't share this with me, but write down every single purchase you made for a month and see how much you're spending and what you're spending your money on. Let's see. I don't know what that says. Oh, I guess we kind of did that already. Yeah. So if I were to look at these and kind of rank them, I would say renting indefinitely is probably the worst because you don't own a home when you're done and you're going to be draining your savings a lot faster. When you own a home, after you own the home for your mortgage, you're able to save a lot more because your home's paid off. Yeah, you still have $1,600 in fixed spending every month, but you're saving a lot more. Renting a townhouse is affordable is probably the best option. You end up with the most money, you end up with a house, and you're taking the least risk. It just depends on what you're comfortable with. But you have to be comfortable with renting for, I don't know, 6 to 10 years, depending on the home that you want. And just know that this all gets way more complicated when you get married and you have a bunch of kids too. So kids make everything a little more complicated. Some people, your spouse might not be able to work, which means all of these go up and your income stays the same. You can make all sorts of things happen. Okay, that's all I've got for you. What I want you to do, what's your assignment? I want you to earnestly and honestly fill this thing out based on what you plan to do. Don't go pick some extravagant house and don't try and maximize your savings by picking a house that is super, super cheap and unlivable. Pick a reasonable house when you're doing your mortgage. Pick a reasonable number for rent, and I want you to work through this sheet and let me know what you end up with, okay? So once you're done, you can go ahead and send this to me. Hopefully you will be able to use this in the future as a way to calculate and estimate your savings. When I sit down and do math on my saving tactics, it really can be motivating for me. So I think I've been talking for too long, but I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and it's good to see you. So go ahead and fill this baby out, and you can come to office hours if you have questions. Toodaloo.